So guys, we've had a lot of drama this year about the cost cap budget, and like you, I've been wondering how much does it actually cost to make a Formula 1 car? Now, I've gone through and done some research on this, and the numbers are actually eye-watering. It's like crazy money for some of these cars and engines. Now, an engine alone cost about 10 million euros. Just let that sink in. 10 million. Ferrari blew up 12 of them, or used 12 of them this season. No wonder they sort of restricted their cost budget and stopped development of their car at least midway through, or not just after midway through this season, with a number of them funds going up in flames or in smoke, as they've seen around the circuits. Now, let's go through some of the smaller parts and then we'll go into why some of the bigger cars cost so much. An engine chassis, which is the carbon fiber monocoque which the drivers actually sit in, and the core of the car, is about $700,000. Crazy sums for a car where you can just basically sit in, but a lot of technical and fine details in that. It's obviously they're all one-off pieces, so a lot of that comes in the design, and obviously the manufacturing of that small part. A gearbox, $440,000, absolutely insane, just to shift gears and go fast down the straight. Teams are spending just a small upgrade on them can cost anywhere about $160,000 as well on that. The hydraulics on a Formula 1 car coming at $170,000. A rear wing, we've seen, with the flaps getting sticky and things like that, but they cost $150,000. Absolutely insane for just a rear wing. The front wings and the nose cone coming at a similar price, about $140,000 as well. We've seen them break so many, and just imagine $140,000 going on just a small error of judgment and clipping a front wing with another driver. We've seen them lost all season, and that's a lot of money going away in a small instant, and small errors that these drivers can make. The floor and barge boards coming in again around $140,000 also. We've got the discs and the pads at $80,000 each. That is insane. I remember the number that they must go through each season. Absolutely insane. The small components in and around the car, electrical bits and things like that, about $50,000 dollars, and the steering wheel, just the steering wheel to steer your car. I know it's got all these fancy buttons, but $50,000 on the steering wheel. And we've seen drivers just get out and just chuck that as they're trying to get out of the car, and you think you've just thrown $50,000 on the floor. Like, what are you doing, man? I'd be fuming. And then a fuel tank, just holding the fuel, is going to cost $140,000. And the halo coming in at $17,000. And I mean, that's money well spent. I think it saved a couple of lives, as we've seen even through this season. Things flying off and just really saving the drivers that halo. So probably money well spent on that. A set of tyres is $3,000 per set, and the team used 13 of them in a weekend. So you do the maths, $39,000 just on the set of tyres in a weekend, and over 24 races. That's nearly just under £1 million on tyres. The trolley just to roll them tyres around costing $5,000 to make as well. Bit of fancy kit that comes with them. They connect and heat up the tyre blanket, and single tyre blanket costing $1,500, and you'll see numbers of them packed up, keeping the tyres warm for the drivers. So they've got sticky units. Altogether, that totaling $12,080,000. And how much will one of these accidents cost? Well, we've seen reports of the crash that Mick Schumacher had in Saudi, which was quite a bad crash. Rumours are that cost about $1 million in repairs. Absolutely insane. A lot of that was obviously due to the chassis having to have been written off. Now, next thing we wanted to finally cover is, can you actually buy one of these Formula 1 cars? Now, if you go on platforms like the F1enthusiastics.com, you can see replica cars, full-scale cars, that are paying for around £100,000, and that's about 118,000 euros. It's not a car that can actually be raced, or it's one that's been raced. These are more show cars that more or less match the original. These, of course, these cheap Formula 1 cars won't come with an engine or a transmission, but you'll get a steering wheel, so you can get your buddies to push you around in your driveway, I suppose, back and forth, or park it into the garage. Now, actual Formula 1 car that's been driven, now Michael Schumacher's 2003 Ferrari has just been on sale and sold for about 13 million euros. Absolutely insane numbers. His 2001 Ferrari actually fetched just about 7.5 million, and that was at the Sotheby's auction in New York. So if you're really interested and got the money, that's where you can go and buy one. The most expensive F1 car ever actually was Juan Manuel Fangio's Mercedes, his 1954 Mercedes W196R, actually sold for 29.65 million at the Goodwood Festival of Speed. And so if you're into some serious collectibles, you know, that is the absolute peak high end. What a beautiful car that was. And so yeah, absolutely mega money in these cars, and can we see why the cost cap budget is so crucial, and having no incidents and saving money on repairs is absolutely crucial, you know, to then spend that money on development of these cars, so you can get a quick one. And why we've seen such an emphasis on these cost cap breaking rules, you know, even saying something as small as, you know, a couple of 100,000, that is a new front wing, and why we've seen teams use old wings, even this season and last season, to sort of save money on this cost cap budgeting, which is absolutely brilliant. So hopefully we'll see the new teams and smaller teams catch up to the big ones, obviously having lesser budget. But that was just a quick breakdown, guys, of the cost of a Formula 1 car. Some massive surprising figures there. And we can see why the emphasis has been paid on saving them parts. Thanks very much for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment. I'll see you in the next video.